Before Warsaw was rebuilt, it was burned, broken, and almost erased. Today we step straight inside the Warsaw Uprising Museum, saving the introductory area for the end, and walk through one of the city's deepest scars. The opening wall can wait. We go straight past it and into the darker rooms first, leaving the beginning for the end. Brick, riveted steel, dim light, sirens, footsteps, wartime songs, faces in black and white, and the first blow lands immediately. Warsaw in the summer of 1944 was not only fighting in the streets, it was trying to breathe under fire. From August 1st to October 2nd, 1944, the uprising lasted 63 days, and every corridor here is built around that stretch of time. The museum stands at Grzybowska 79 in Wola, inside the old tram power station, and the industrial shell suits the subject completely. Tall brick walls, exposed metal, narrow passages, catwalks overhead, raw surfaces, no softness anywhere. The permanent exhibition runs across more than 3,000 square meters and gathers around 800 exhibition items with roughly 1,500 photographs, films, and sound recordings. Near the center rises the steel monument wall that cuts upward through the floors. Dates for each day of the uprising run across it. Bullet marks scar the metal. A heartbeat sounds from inside it, steady and hard, like the city refusing to stop. Nearby, the clock is frozen at 5 p.m., the W hour, the moment when the uprising began on August 1st, 1944. Then the cases begin to pull the eye downward. Identity cards, armbands with the red and white colors, underground newspapers, printed leaflets, orders typed in haste, handwritten messages, helmets, field gear, satchels, stamps, telephones, typewriters, fragments of printing equipment. One cabinet holds the machinery of resistance. The next holds the private remains of ordinary life trapped inside it. Paper sits beside metal. The photographs keep breaking the scale down from crowds to individuals. Faces look out from before the fighting and during it. School-age boys in helmets too large for them. Women in armbands, nurses leaning into the camera for half a second. Men whose expressions have already hardened into something older than their years. The museum's wider collections hold over 13,000 photographs and an oral history archive with about 4,000 interviews. The uprising is not pinned to one heroic pose. It breaks apart into hundreds of lives, pseudonyms, district names, unfinished biographies, and witness voices carried far beyond 1944. The little Insurgents room turns that part of the story into something almost unbearable in its simplicity. Schoolroom echoes, children's drawings, the presence of the youngest messengers and helpers. Nearby are reminders of nurses, field hospitals, improvised care, and the endless work of carrying the wounded through streets under bombardment. The uprising stops being only a line of attack and becomes a city where children, civilians, couriers, and medics were all pulled into the same storm. Farther in, the route drops into one of the museum's most remembered spaces, the sewer replica. During the uprising, the sewers-linked districts cut off on the surface and made it possible to evacuate 5,300 soldiers from the old town to the city center. In the museum, that history contracts into darkness, low ceilings, close walls, and the loss of all sense of the city above. No sky, no street, no horizon. Only movement through a buried route while the capital burns overhead. The galleries keep widening and tightening around the same fact. Warsaw had to function while being destroyed. There are sections on the occupation before the uprising, the Warsaw Ghetto, and the 1943 Ghetto Uprising, the underground state, clandestine printing, district fighting, and the fragile routines of a city learning to survive one day at a time. One room is full of documents and communications. Another turns to combat. Another brings in civilians sheltering below street level. Then original footage begins to flicker, and the uprising stops looking like a static archive. Streets move again, faces turn, smoke rises. A camera catches a second that should have been lost forever. Then comes Liberator Hall. Overhead hangs the full-scale replica of a B-24J Liberator bomber, one of the museum's defining images. Beneath it, the story suddenly expands beyond barricades and courtyards into the Allied airdrops, the gamble of reaching Warsaw from the air, and the terrible arithmetic of what got through and what did not. In the same hall sits 1944, Topography, the interactive map based on 15 critical moments of the uprising. German advances, Polish lines, Red Army positions, airdrop sites, sewer routes, redoubts, bastions, and the changing geometry of the battle spread out below the aircraft. The city becomes a battlefield in motion, not a still photograph. Witness voices continue through this part of the museum. Uniforms and weapons show one layer, testimony carries another. The sound of someone remembering a district, a roofline, a hospital room, a crossing, a death, or a street name changes the room around the object beside it. Then the film, City of Ruins, enters the sequence. Included in the ticket, it shows Warsaw in 1945 as a shattered landscape of foundations, broken shells, severed streets, and long strips of absence where a capital had stood. Nothing decorative remains in that image. Nothing softens it. The destruction stops being a number and becomes a physical horizon. The story does not stop with capitulation on October 2nd, 1944. The last sections hold the aftermath as firmly as the fighting itself. Expulsion, devastation, and the later fate of insurgents in the People's Republic of Poland. The city after the uprising appears as wreckage first, and only much later as reconstruction. Practical details sit close to the history. The address is Grzybowska 79, 00-844 Warsaw. Doors open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Tuesday is closed. Tickets are sold until 30 minutes before closing. A normal ticket is 35 zlotys, a discounted ticket 30 zlotys, and Thursday admission is free. Audio guides are available in English, and the price is 13 zlotys for the device, or 10 zlotys through a personal smartphone. The cleanest public transport approach is Metro Line 2 to Rondo Dasinskiego, or Tramlines 1, 11, 22, 24 to Muzeum Powstania Warszawskiego stop. Buses 102, 105, 190 stop there as well. If this helped you plan Warsaw, subscribe to Best Travel Video for more Warsaw videos. And if you prefer silent natural sound walks, you can also find our ambient tours on City Walk Travels. In the description, you'll find affiliate links that support the channel, plus links to our books and ebooks if you'd like to explore more. Thanks for watching.